Good morning, everybody, and it's Lilia from Scotland's Wild Medicine in Heal Scotland. And today I have with me a very dear friend and ally in the healing world, Alex Mitchell. Alex, how you doing?
I'm not too bad, Lila. How are you?
Yes, I am. I think the same as everybody, navigating the madness of the
Yeah,
world. And you're just do your best to keep on keeping on, don't you? There's really nothing else for it.
yeah, you've just got to go up and face a new dawn every day.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, I wanted to talk to you today, really, because we don't want to let what's happened to so many people, and my brother included. Um, the story is not over. Yes, we all understand what happened now when some people took the vaccine. Your story is particularly difficult. Some people died, so we know that we're very lucky that you're here. Although I'm
Yeah.
sure some days you wonder why you still are. Just for people that have never met you before, can you just kind of outline the story of what happened to you, the timeline, the fact your family were all called for, and
Uh, yeah, on the 20th of March 2021, I did what my government asked me to do the right thing, do my civic duty. And I went and got the COVID vaccine. It was the AstraZeneca one. And everything seemed fine. The usual cold flu like symptoms for 48 hours. Then 12 days later, I experienced calf issues at work. I was a scaffolder. I thought I'd pulled my calf muscles. I collapsed on the 4th of April, was blue lighted to the hospital, where after a CT scan, I was basically given no hope of survival. My wife and family were told that they'd never seen anything like this and didn't think I would survive. And if I did, it would most likely to be from the waist up. I spent 7.5 hours having hundreds, and it's in the hundreds, of clots removed from both legs and my abdomen. Unfortunately, I spent a week in isolation, and after that week, I lost my left leg from above the knee. I've got a condition called VIT, vaccine-induced immune thrombosis thrombopenia. I'm the first in the world to survive with the level of this condition that I've got. I'm also the first living person that the UK government's vaccine damage payment scheme paid out on for a COVID vaccine. That was 4.5 years ago. And yeah, there's numerous other health issues because this condition's caused all sorts of problems. My right leg's seriously damaged. My eyesight's gone. My ears hearing starting to go. It's affected my bowel, my bladder, my brain. I had a brain scan on Wednesday, so I'm waiting the results of that. So
well, I
for
think
4.5 years, we've been trying to raise awareness of what can happen. I'm not saying, that, and the fact is when something goes wrong with a particular COVID vaccine in this country or any vaccine, you're pretty much abandoned.
100%. And I think the thing is with you, it's not like you lost your leg and that the leg with the leg went away, all the after effects of the vaccine. Your main body is still daily dealing with, well, the reality, as I've said to many people, it was only when I saw you in Sky and I realised every single thing you do, you have to look at it differently now because of your false leg, which your new one's pretty damn cool, by the way.
Yeah,
But I think it's easy to think, well, you get the problem cut off when we know that's not true. Now,
yeah,
interestingly enough, why I wanted to get you back on was to really, well, to keep, there's so many people still sick and now just becoming sick because of what happened. And you and I are both the same. There's no point in looking back. We've been through the anger, the grief, the gaslighting, the falling out with people who are unwilling to admit that there's been a gross error made here. Whether it was deliberate or not is another completely different debate, because it's still, this is what we're dealing with. And my brother yesterday actually he went and got nicotine patches because he thought it's worth a try, and histamine. And really, we're going to be running 2 retreats, one at Barmolloch at the end of October and one in Oban in November, to bring people that have been literally left financially, emotionally, physically, spiritually abandoned, and very often by members of their own family who I don't think did it with kind of the wrong intents. It's just that they just couldn't deal with what's actually happened. So what we want to do and what we did in Skye was we brought people together and we looked at how we can move forward from this. And it's can be a very lonely daily journey to keep your mental health up, to deal with the physical stuff. And then you put financial stress on top of that. Now, whether it's the vaccine damage or whether people are dealing with cancer or any job that puts them out of work, any disease that puts them out of work, it is made a million times worse when you can't afford to go to things. You know that there's all these treatments out there that may help you, but you don't have the money to try them because unless you want drugs or surgery, which is the only thing available in the NHS and even the scans, etc., sometimes you'll have to wait. All these other things that we know work, all the different light treatments, oxygen, supplements, and also just a clear understanding of what you should try and how much money you invest in it. You know, I'm in the process of talking to people who have been diagnosed terminal and asking them to make a list of the things that would make their life easier, because there's a massive gap in our so-called healthcare system where now really you go in, you can get emergency treatment if you're lucky. And then we all know you're better off not being in the hospital because of sepsis and all sorts of other infections. And I know that the people, this is not a criticism about the doctors and nurses, the system is done. And so what happens to the people that have been damaged by not just the COVID vaccine, there's a lot of vaccines causing damage, and there's lots of people don't appear to be affected. Great, good for them. But there's a lot of people now are, and a lot of people aren't aware that their health issues are down to what has happened, what they've injected completely with the best possible intentions into the body. So tell us a little bit about the vaccine injury charity that just received status recently.
It's called the Association for Vaccine Injury in Scotland, and it's a charity that's been set up in Scotland by large, predominantly vaccine injured people, or whose husband, wife, son, daughter has been vaccine affected by particularly a COVID vaccine. And it took a lot of work in the background. I take no credit for the charity getting to where it's got to. It's took a long battle to get it there. I'm absolutely honoured and privileged and humbled to be one of the patrons of the charity. And it's basically to do more things like what we did in Skye. Get a group of vaccine injured together just to let them know you're not alone. There is people going through all the same issues that you are. And you're right, we're finding that a lot of the treatments that have any beneficial outcome to us seem to be off the NHS list. They're not available in the NHS, like acupuncture, infrared, the hyperbaric, simple basic things that seem to be, we're not saying it's curing people, but it's certainly making them better than what they are.
Well, that's sorry, that's exactly what I was saying to Peter. You know, if it can just, we're not looking, it'd be lovely if we find the miracle cure, all singing and dancing. But what we're looking for is an alleviation of the symptoms in order to make better choices and to feel that, you know, I was talking to John Watt yesterday. Obviously, he's very vocal about the money that he's been privileged enough to have to spend on his return, but he still struggles too. But the level of, you know, so it's so that your life becomes manageable again, and that the fatigue, the heaviness and the aches and pains in the body, the fogginess of the brain, and obviously just the actual general feeling of being gaslit, not just from the system, as I say, but from others. So we need to find a way. And again, I've been dealing with this usually with cancer and, you know, allegedly incurable autoimmune, where hope gets doused. There's no real. It's 2025, Alex. We know the power of nutrition for healing. We know the power of herbs. We know every single energy treatment and light treatment is mimicking the sun. We know the power of the sun for helping us heal. I lived in it. I witnessed it. I saw it. My eyesight came back. this is not rocket science. You know, all of these things assist the body and help the body, which will inevitably, if you can tip the scales back up enough, will start to do its own healing. And it seems to be that vaccine for some people just tipped the scales, and with devastating consequences. And, you know, whether you believe that or not is really up to you. I would have thought with the data that we have now, you'd need to be pretty cognitively dissonant not to understand and see. But it's how do we move forward? The anger, the rage, it propels us. And like I said to you in Sky, I wholeheartedly believe when enough of us pull together for solutions, we have the allopathic system over here that's run by big pharma. It's drugs and it's surgery, and it's it's a big money making business, much as the government pay for it. We pay for it, but there's a whole load of things over here: the breath work, the mind, the letting go, the somatic stuff. You know, because I don't even know your story. Just that's how I had to leave the room, because it upsets me so much to think of you in that room with no windows for a week after having your leg cut off. It's just a pain and an emotional. Oh, I just can't. We need to create something else. And I am hoping that by next year we'll have a residential space in place for people to come and be able to access all the stuff that we know works, to what degree or level. And I say this all the time, an hour with me, I can make you feel better. I know that. It's just something I've always been good at. But then you've got all the other hours, the 6 days and the other 23 hours by yourself. We need to have these communities, these strong communities of people that can support each other, because there is not enough doctors and healers on the planet for a one-to-one situation here. And
I think that's just sort of one of the aspects of what the charity's trying to achieve. Obviously, that somewhere to go when you're feeling like everybody's shut you out the room.
Mm-hmm.
That's a safe space to go, where you find people who have been through much of the trauma that you're going through, and advocacy work of pointing you which direction to go with regards to benefits, dealing with politicians. That's another story. There's so many different facets to the charity that it's going to take a long time for us to get fully functional, or get the charity fully functional, because as people come along, different experiences meet different skills, for want of a better word.
Absolutely.
So the charity's got long range and many different facets it's trying to do, as well as pull people together into retreats to give them that space of your story is important.
Absolutely, your voice.
And I think that's what a lot of the abandonment and the gaslighting probably affects people far worse in many ways than what's actually happened to us.
Yeah.
We can't change what's happened to us, but
and then there's an element of blame. It's your lifestyle. It's this. It's that you've participated in it, and that's just human nature. And I think especially you're very. I mean, I know because I personally had vaccine damage when I took the yellow fever or whatever I took to go to India. It's invisible. Yours is very visual. You can see the minute. Well, actually, no. It's only when you actually get to know you and you see you. You know, if you met you in the street, you look great, to be honest. And when you realise that one of your legs is fake, it's very obvious what's happened to you, and that's why I suppose they couldn't really not give you the money. Do you know what the percentage now is of people that they're paying out? Because I know Stephen's been knocked back. I mean, it's outrageous.
It's frightening. From the vaccine damage payments set up in 1979 to January 2021, no more than 1,000 people had applied to it in over 40 years. We've had over 22,000 just for COVID vaccines.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And we've not even paid out 250 payments.
Is that 250?
Yeah, so it's just over 1% of awards, but historically it rejects over 98% of all the awards historically. You know, I'm, as you say, once you see me, you can't unsee it.
Uh-huh.
And, if you're right. If the vaccine damage payment scheme could have found a way of finding other reasons to say that this happened, I'm sure they would have. But the fact is, they couldn't. Because we were certified by this condition by the world's leading haematologists. So there's no argument there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I
Um,
know the surgeons that operated on you had never seen anything like it.
no. They said that they'd never seen anything like this, and they didn't give me any hope of surviving. Which is sometimes that can be a bit of a burden on you, because you think, well, why did I survive? Why did I survive? And do you know that there's 81 people who lost their lives to the same condition as me?
Wow. In Scotland?
In the UK.
The UK.
So I should be number 82 or thereabouts.
Mm-hmm.
And I take that to a place very deep, that these people no longer have a voice.
It's a big weight for you to carry.
I don't see it as a weight. The honest answer is, if I hadn't survived, who would have fought for me the way I've fought?
I know. And well, I've said to you numerous times, I know, in Skye, when you arrived in Skye, you were tired, because obviously it's a kick-ass journey, right?
Yeah.
And by the time you left, you were like, how can I help?
Yeah.
Because I was like, and I think this is the thing, I've said this with John as well, I understand that there's so many things that we want to do if we had the energy, the time, the team, the money, right? But that's at this moment in time, we're trying to do what we can. And when you're already suffering with fatigue and all the issues that the body can throw up, it can be frustrating, it can be difficult. And sometimes you need to take time out. It's as simple as that. But I've got a very strong belief, and I flip between looking at you physically and my brother, and I get angry and I get sad. And then I go, this happened for a reason. This is part of their journey. I truly believe that we're all here, that you and I met. We said this in Skye. We would never have had that retreat if that hadn't happened. We wouldn't have met. I truly believe, I have to, that these things happen for a reason, and that we're going to create change. That's I've got to believe that. Otherwise, I've just taught myself. Because the suffering is real and it's huge.
I think that's people say, what's my goal? And I never set out any goals. I only set out to find other people like me. But I do have 3 goals now. One is get proper help and support for the injured and the bereaved. They deserve it. They should be recognised and acknowledged, instead of constantly telling us that we're super rare and we're rare and that millions of lives have been saved. Well, didn't save our fucking lives, excuse my language.
I know.
I know. So stop these things is the second one. And third one is to keep them away from children. Because now that I know the UK's support mechanism for when it goes wrong with medical products, it's rotten to the core. Because if your child's under 2 and it's killed or seriously disabled by a vaccine, any vaccine, it's not covered. It doesn't qualify.
It's outrageous.
And that's morally wrong. And the fact that 98% of people are getting rejected for the so-called fallback that there is. They also tell you that, you can take legal action, but they don't tell you it's a civil class action and you need a ridiculous amount of money for the legal fees. So and trying to get a lawyer interested is a whole different ballgame. So if I can achieve those things, take AstraZeneca to court, a part of the litigation team, successful, then we can change this happening, because you're right, this is not just the COVID vaccines. This is every medical product on the planet. It's not 100% safe for everyone, and there's no fallback in place other than state benefits. I'm sorry, but for governments to make the money they're making, for pharmaceutical companies to make the money they're making, they've got a duty of care and a duty of candour and a moral duty to look after those that it's not safe for. And
They're not
the
doing
last
it.
60 years. No, and it's been, sometimes it looks as if it's deliberate because every door that you open, there's another three behind it that's shut.
Yes. And I
And
think,
that's
I went to India and I took the vaccine. So you can say, well, that was me that made a choice. It's very different with the COVID vaccine. The coercion was like something that's never been seen in human history. And the guilt and the virtue signalling and the mandates and you can't travel. And wow, they really got people with that. My son was in Gran Canaria. His son was in Scotland. He took one. I burst out crying when he told me. He was in the queue when I phoned him. I was horrified because I just from day one was like, there's something not right here. And there was nothing you could do to warn people. The more you tried, the more they thought you were a nut job. So, and it's not nice to say you were right because some people appear to be fine, but a lot of people aren't, and that's something that we absolutely have to address. And informed consent, and even for the people that are putting it into your body, do they really genuinely know what's in it and what it's going to do? Do they have informed? Are they well enough informed to actually be giving that to you? I don't know how. It's just morally.
there's so many aspects of the whole last 4.5 years that when they look back, the COVID vaccines are intramuscular injection, so therefore it should only be given in the deltoid and it should never travel further from the deltoids. So for the first time in history, we stopped aspirating in an intravenous muscular vaccine. Why? It's when you look at all these things that they got wrong, whether you want to believe that these vaccines are the saviour or not, doesn't change the fact that there's issues and things went wrong. And these are the things that we need to change. Not for us. I can't fix this. Nothing's ever going to give me my leg back or my life or my health. But to ensure that no other human being or family goes through what our families have gone through, watching our loved ones going through what they're going through and being treated the way they're being treated. We were treated like the paras of society because we were vaccine injured.
You're not allowed to talk about it. Everything was getting taken down in social media. You're not allowed to question it. It's like, what? Never seen anything like it. It was so.
I was actually labelled as medical misinformation, despite having paperwork in front of me from the haematology task force telling me this condition exists. These are and that drove people into dark, dark places. Yeah, and that's why things like Sky, the one in Barmorloch and Oban are so, so important. Is to lift the mental health of people, to let them realise you're not sitting in this room fighting this alone. There's many others get through the same thing. People say to me, oh, but you're worse than me. What happened to you is worse than me. And I say to them, don't do that because you're belittling your own trauma. Doesn't matter the circumstances of what the trauma is, but trauma is trauma. Being gaslit, being ignored, being censored, being labelled, being abused,
being ostracised.
Doesn't change just because my injury looks worse than yours or is different from yours. The impact's the same. People go into dark, dark places. You know me, I've always gone about this. You don't know how strong you are till it's all you've got. And if there's nothing else in this world if anyone takes anything from anything I ever say, that is the one thing I want anybody to take. I'm not special. Yeah. Difference is I know how strong I am. But you're right, it doesn't change the dark days because there always is, and there always will be. And it's just about trying to get through that dark day and remember that nobody can come into my darkness and guide me out of it. Mm-hmm. And I can't go into anybody else's darkness and guide them out of it. Yeah. And trying to keep that in your head that you will always be the only light in your darkness. Mm-hmm. And you'll find your way home.
Mm-hmm. And if we can get enough lights around you to support you until you can, that's what we're doing with the retreats, is to give people a place to go. And also the other thing, because to me it's not really any different from navigating a cancer journey or an MS journey or whatever. You get something terrible happens, it douses your hope. You go onto the internet, you're looking for things to do, you're overwhelmed with information. So what we'll do is we'll look and we'll help people decide what they can do at home to help themselves, the things that they can try. And it's about patience and persistence and utilising the groups that we have to really help the people, to support the people. Because we know from ancient testimonies, the Bible, from 12-step program through to networking events, we givers gain. When you help other people, you feel better yourself. And even if you can listen on the other side of a phone, because with the best will in the world, and I'm sure you find this, people are struggling. There's not very many people not struggling to keep themselves up. They don't want to hear any more sad stories. But what we can do is we can find the people that are willing to listen, and then we can go, right, where do we go from here? We have to look forwards, and as a collective, because I mean, I think anybody that still trusts the government or thinks the government and Big Pharma are going to come and save us, I don't know what to say. But what we're doing is we're creating something incredible that will give people hope. And as my granddaughter says, well, you can try. We have to try. And sometimes you don't want to try, right? Because you're just like, let me cover my head with a blanket and just feel this pain and this rage and this, lack of justice, all the things that we've been feeling. And then in comes the light again, and we allow the body to ebb and flow with whatever is coming up. And then we're like, now we've got somewhere for you to go. We've got other people that know exactly how you feel like. Here are the things. There's amazing doctors, Peter McCulloch, Ryan Cole, Asim, Nina Pierce, all doing incredible work to really help find the solutions in labs. What are the spike proteins doing? How can we stop them replicating? How can we alleviate the symptoms of POTS and MCAS and whatever else? VIT. That's what we have to do now. Solutions with compassion and empathy and kindness. So listen, I know
that's the most important message. That's the most important message, that there is things out there that will make a difference. And it's not a one-size-fits-all for everyone. We know that. But we do know that you'll certainly come away from the retreats a better person than what you were when you went in. And if nothing else, that in itself is healing. I don't care what MD says.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, everybody raved. I mean, it was the first one of its kind. I just knew, and because I've been so personally affected, our whole family's been so personally affected by it, I wanted to help. And I had that beautiful place in Skye, so I thought, let's give a few days. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I thought, let's just get everybody there and we'll work it out. And a big part of the sharing, right? And we had a lot of laughs. We ate John's incredible food, and it's not really rocket science. It's just the power of hope and the power of community. Community is immunity. And when you got ostracized from the community, as so many people did, and from your family community, because they were like, whoa, they just, because it's quite invisible for a lot of people, they just didn't understand what was happening, and what has happened.
The past is the past. I don't know anyone in history that's managed to go back and change it. So we can't do anything about that. What we can do is try and plan for the future we hope it can be, and just work towards that by doing all the things that we find that are working and sharing them, sharing your experience. It was strange. We was up at Aberfeldy the other week, and I spent more time after the talk answering questions and chatting to people than I did during the talk. And these are the things that you realise that you're touching, you're getting across to people. People are seeing the reality. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, because if I was, I wouldn't have took the fucking thing in the first place. But I am anti-medical products that harm and kill people, and you've got no fallback in place.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you've been misinformed. Yeah. So listen, great to see you, and thanks again for speaking at the festival, because I know how emotive it is, and I always think I want you there because we have to look at the shadow side of life as well as the fun, frivolous, let's dance and have a lot of fun. We have to hold people accountable. We have to be part of the change that we want to see. And I know, there's this place in Quarriers in Bridge of Weir. I'm talking to the owner there. We're going to be looking to how we can help people. I know Kia was there. I think she's been, if I remember rightly. There's oxygen, there's all the different light therapies, there's naturopaths, there's people that can help, and we're going to be putting packages together, and we'll talk to the charity as well, because there is a cost at this moment in time. Things have to be paid for. So but I still believe if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. We have to forge our way. And I'll just do a wee plug for the community that we've created. It's £5 a month for a library of the cutting edge information. You'll get our own breathworks in there. We've just started. We're doing our first talk on cancer and treatments and choices and challenges. So we're taking in that community. We are going to make the best community in the world for natural healing. We're going to get this information out. It's not just for Scotland. It's for everybody and anybody that's listening from anywhere in the world. And we're going to create our first place where we can really start. Why are we waiting for somebody else to work out how to do this? Why don't we get on it and start trying? The people that are willing to try, and let's see what we can achieve. Because one of my biggest areas of interest right now is if we have 30 people who believe that healing is possible, and rather than 30 people who think you're going to die and blah, 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 and who have doused your hope. And what is it going to be like for you being here or being there with the people that know that? I mean, I've got a strong faith, call it God, I don't know what it is. It's a strong faith in something way higher than us. And I believe that we can tune in, enough of us, we can change things. And if I didn't believe that, I wouldn't be able to run retreats for you guys, because I'd be like, well, we're all going to die. How are we going to do it? Let's hold hands. We might as well do it now. Not at all. It's not about that. We're in this place, all of us, and we're playing a role. And that role that we're all playing is about this and our faith and our trust in something higher, and where we can go with that. And the more of us that do it, because I'm sure you've all felt that over the last wee while, there's people that bring you down and want to bring you down, and there's people that bring you up and want to bring you up and support you. And it's really important to get away from the people that want to bring you down. Whether they're doing it consciously or unconsciously is irrelevant. We now need to go, find our tribe, focus on the solutions. Let's create an incredible place. Scotland, the most incredibly beautiful, spectacular land, high energy, trees, rivers, waterfalls, the best food on the planet, herring, mackerel, trout, salmon, berries galore. We've got everything we need. Venison, rabbits. We don't even need supermarkets. If we were smart, we've got the best mushrooms in the world. I'm on a rant now because I'm so excited about what we can do. So I am so happy, Alex, to call myself your friend, to witness your strength and your courage. I know it's difficult to speak out. It's different now. People would attack me online now. That doesn't happen quite as much. I'm sure they're still attacking behind my back, but I don't care. We know what's right. And we know that if you've made a mistake, you admit it and you do your best to right a wrong. And that's what has to happen. In meantime, till we make sure that everybody gets held accountable for their part in it, we have to look at the solutions for ourselves. This is a movement for the people, by the people. So thank you so much. I know you've got another appointment. So is there anything you want to say before I let you go?
Just keep thinking that you are not alone, and you're not. There's thousands of us out here, and you don't know how strong you are. That's all you've got. You really don't.
I think that is the very way to. It's a bit like watching the world records on the ice. I witnessed 2 over the last week, and you know, for me, it's not about the world record. What it's about is about how unbelievable are our bodies. I mean, you're still alive. You know, that spirit, there's a divine spirit inside you that is meant to be here. And, you know, against all odds, you are. And most of us don't really ever want to be pushed to that place. But, you know, you don't realise how strong you are until you bloody well have to be strong. So I think that's right. And I think we're living, I always say, what? People are cowards. Where did everybody's courage go? Why are we not standing up? I'm absolutely like, you know, we're so strong. The body's so incredible, so magnificent. There's something much higher than us. There's an amazing universe out there. And when we all pull together, we can remember that. So
definitely.
We better stop there before I get on another rant. Listen, you have a great day, and I will, I'm sure I'll talk to you really soon. Okay, hun?
We'll catch up in the next couple of days. Bye, Lila. Cheers, everybody.